Hi friends, it's Liv and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my very first wrap-up video of the decade of 2020 for the month of January. So I don't know about you, but I feel like January has felt like it's been going on forever. I know I have some people that feel differently, some people that feel the same. I personally always feel like January is the longest month of the year. But right after that is February, and it just seems so short. Even though this year is leap year, so we do have the extra day, it always just feels so much shorter compared to January. In January, I did participate in the Visco Girls readathon, so I will have my wrap up for that in here as well, because that's the majority of the books here. I did read 8 books, so I'll tell you guys the prompts for the Visco readathon and the books I read for those first, and then I do have one other one that didn't fit any of the prompts, but I did finish anyways. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Okay, so actually my first read of the year that I finished is the one that was not part of any of these prompts, go figures. But the first read I have here, it was my first read of 2020, was The Direct Prophecy by Riordan, which is book 2 in the Trials of Apollo series. Trials of Apollo follows the story of the god Apollo, who was cursed by his father Zeus to be a mortal, and he's like a 16-year-old pimply, awkward looking kid. And he has to go through all of these trials and serve as like a servant to a demigod master until Zeus is happy and has lifted his punishment. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought this was so fun. I love Apollo as a narrator. I know I've mentioned that a million times, but it's so true, and I think he gets funnier and funnier every time. I do think this was kind of more of like bridging the gap between what's about to come in the next few books. I'm really nervous for the next few books because I know a certain thing that happens and I don't want to get there because I know I'm going to be really sad. Rick Riordan has actually probably my favorite characters of all time in these books. I love the way that he writes all of his characters, even like the smallest ones that you really don't see have so much detail and like just there's so much to them. There's so many layers, and I love the way they interact with each other, all their relationships, the frenemies, the friends, the romantic relationships. I think they're all so well done. And so every book of Rick Riordan's is a great one in my opinion, and I'm really excited to see where this series goes once it really starts to pick up, and I am so excited. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about, I do actually have marked down for 2 prompts from the Visco readathon, and the first one is Scrunchies, which is a book with a gorgeous cover, and then the Anna Oop, which is Pick a Random Book. And for this, I read the first book in the Isle of the Lost series by Melissa De La Cruz. If you don't know, the Isle of the Lost series follows 20 years after everything that has happened in Disney fairy tales, and so the story now follows their children. Specifically for this one, it is mostly the children of the Disney villains, specifically Maleficent, the Evil Queen, Jafar, and Cruella de Vil. When these children are given an opportunity to go on this quest and steal something to please their parents, they want to do it because on the Isle of the Lost, they really taught like the proper way to be evil. And I actually thought this was really good. I love the writing, and I think it was a lot of fun to get to read through and see like what happened before the Disney Descendants movies. I know these books kind of take place like before the movies, and then each book after this takes place between the movies, so it's kind of just one long big universe, and this kind of expands on the world. And so again, I have mentioned a few times in books that I'm a sucker for anything with like the next generation after anything, and seeing characters that I know and love as parents and like how they raise their kids and what their kids do. So this was something that I was very intrigued with from the very start. I love the characters, I love the movies, I think they're so much fun just to like sit, watch, sing along. So this was a real treat for me to get to read, and I'm really excited to see how the rest of the series plays out between the movies. Like, I want to know what happens in the time span between the movies. I'm really curious. I love these characters, and so getting to see them in this kind of light and get to see what happened before the events of the first movie, it was really fun. Next up, I want to talk about the Oversized T-Shirts prompt, which was a book out of your comfort zone, and let me just say, I am so proud of myself because I finally managed to finish Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a book that I felt was cursed for me for the longest time. Every time I wanted to start it, this has been in like 4 TBR videos, but I'm only finally now managing to read it. And I've talked about this shiny cover a million times, and I'm literally looking at it in the viewfinder right now because it is so pretty. This book follows the tale of the sorceress Circe and her exile to her island in Greek mythology. So it really kind of shows her life on her island and the various figures of Greek mythology that have washed up and her interactions with them. I give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. However, I do think it was kind of missing something. Like, I wanted it to be bigger, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, I wanted more to happen, though I kind of understand why she wrote it the way she did, because she is exiled on an island. There's not much she can do without everyone coming to her. I don't know. The ending for me, it was okay, but it was one that I liked the book, but I do think there was something that I did just want that little bit more. Though overall, I thought it was a really good book. I really do like her writing style. I think it's really beautiful. It's really lyrical and descriptive. And I really want to read The Song of Achilles now, because this was my first ever Madeline Miller book. This was considered out of my comfort zone because when it comes to mythology retellings, I really only read like middle grade YA, the Percy Jackson books. So this was something really different for me, getting to see like these different perspectives from a new author. But it was definitely a risk that I'm glad I took, and I really enjoyed, and I'm excited to see what else she brings to the table. Next up on the readathon was the term Visco, and it was a book loved by one of your faves, and for this I went with City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare, as loved by Emma Books here on YouTube. City of Fallen Angels is book 4 in her original series, The Immortal Instruments, so it follows, of course, like Cleary and Jace and the adventures of the Shadowhunters in New York. I really like these books. I did give this one a 3 out of 5 stars because I feel like not much happened in this book that was really substantial to the plot overall. I feel like this was more of a book that was meant to bridge the gap between the original 3 books of the series and the last 2 books. It definitely sets up for a lot of the action. I think towards the end it really picked up, though for the majority. It's also the smallest book, I think, of all of them, because they're usually like, I mean, like Clockwork Princess itself was like 35 chapters, but this one was only 19, which I thought was interesting, because I was reading and I got to chapter 19 and I was like, oh, that's it. Okay. It was okay. I liked it for the sake of the characters and like getting to see them interact with each other and like what they do, because it's been a really long time since I've read the original trilogy, because after I did finish City Glass, I went and I read The Infernal Devices. So getting to see these characters that I know and love was really refreshing, though I'm really excited to see how the action picks up in City of Lost Souls and what goes on from there. Next up was Polaroid, which is a nonfiction or a nostalgic book, and for this I had to read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the illustrated edition by J.K. Rowling and illustrated by Jim Kay. This was actually my very first 5-star read of the year, and I couldn't have picked a better one because this is actually one of my favorite books in the Harry Potter series. This was actually my first time reading one of the illustrated editions, and these illustrations are so beautiful. Hang on, let me find like the certain one that I love. I actually opened it really close. Okay, here it is. Is Harry with the Patronus. I think this is the prettiest illustration I have ever seen in any book ever. I haven't actually looked through the other illustrated editions, so I need to do that. I need to complete this collection. So these are massive and they're really heavy, so I'm just gonna balance this on my knee for right now. But this was a really refreshing, really solid read. I haven't actually read this book in years, but I love it so much. So getting to do that, it was really kind of, it was nostalgic. It was a great one for the prompt, so I'm really glad that I chose that one. Next up is Puka Shell Necklace, which was a buddy read with a friend, and with a group of friends on Twitter, we read The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. Guinevere Deception is a retelling of the tale of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, following Guinevere, who has had to take the place of the actual Guinevere after she is killed for reasons that we don't know. And so she takes Guinevere's place as Arthur's new wife in order to protect him from this looming threat. Guinevere is a witch who has been practicing magic with Merlin, and so she goes in to protect Arthur. Magic is outlawed in the kingdom, so Merlin has been exiled, and so she goes in his place undercover. No one knows that she's a witch and can do these things except for Arthur. But so she's posing as his wife and in turn trying to protect him from this looming threat. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, but it's more like a 3.5. I did enjoy it. I did find it really hard to get into originally. I know a lot of the other girls in our group that were reading it listened to the audiobook and they said that was a lot easier to get through and it was more enjoyable for them personally, but I did actually enjoy the book once it really kind of started to pick up. At first I wasn't a big fan of the writing style, just personal preference, but once it started to pick up, I had a lot of fun with this. So this is definitely something that I really need to know more about and I'm so intrigued. I want to know more about the main character. Guinevere, not Guinevere. I think she is so interesting to me. She's so intriguing. It's also got some plot twists upon plot twists, which I really found enjoyable. I think Kirsten wrote them really well. I'm really excited to see where this trilogy goes, except I'm sad that I have to wait like a year for the next one to come out, but I need it like right now. Next up is Stickers Galore, and it is a manga or graphic novel, and for this I read the graphic novel Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell, which is this really cute story following these two best friends, Josiah and Deja, and they work at a pumpkin patch, and it's their last night working together before they're gonna end the season, go off to college. And so they're trying to make the most of it as Deja helps Josiah ask out the girl of his dreams. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was okay. I thought it was really cute and I had a lot of fun reading it, but it's probably something that I would read once and probably wouldn't read again. It was very like fluffy, lighthearted, cute, and that was kind of everything I was looking for in this book. So I enjoyed my time reading it and I'm really glad I did. Rainbow Rowell is actually one of my favorite authors from high school. I loved Fangirl, Eleanor, and Park. Those are still like 2 of my favorite books of all time. And so this was a lot of fun getting to see this like different side of her writing. I had a lot of fun with it. And last but certainly not least was the Mario Badescu prompt, which is a book that is overhyped. And for this, I don't want to say it was like overhyped, but I picked it because it has a lot of hype surrounding it, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This is another book that I thought was cursed for me, but I finally read it and I'm so happy that I did. I have owned this book for years now. I have tried to read this book like 3 times and I would stop and then I would put it off. I wouldn't pick it back up, but it's done. I'm so excited. A Court of Thorns and Roses is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast following the Fae. It follows our main character Feyre, who is out hunting one day when she kills a wolf who turns out to be a Fae in disguise. It is against the laws of a treaty for a human to murder a Fae, and so a beast shows up at Feyre's house demanding recompense for the life that was stolen. For the trade, Feyre goes back with him to the land of the Fae to live out the rest of her days, and that's kind of where the story begins, is like her story in the land of the Fae as a human. I really liked this. I need to read books 2 and 3. I really do. According to a couple of my friends, A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book, is like one of their top 5 favorite books of all time, so I know I am absolutely going to love that book, so I'm really excited. I'm really trying this year to continue series when I'm reading them instead of like stopping, putting them back, because I end up forgetting everything and then I just need to go back to book 1, reread it, and I'm trying to not do that as much this year, so mark my words. A Court of Mist and Fury, I am coming for you soon. Alright, and there you have it, guys. That was my January wrap up for 2020. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what your favorite read of January was. I really want to know. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, you can do so by hitting that button down below, and be sure to click that bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video, because I do upload every Monday and every Thursday on this channel. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!